And good morning on Wednesday, December 6th. It's episode 328 of the 359 podcast. I'm BVG, and your host today is the entire team, Ben Fox Rubin, Roger Cheng, and Alfred.
Hello.
Squad goals.
It is important to mention that this is the last time this year that all four of us are going to be together for the podcast.
I know.
We'll be back. Well, Alfred and I are going to be doing it on next week.
Doing it every day.
I'm off for the year starting Friday. But these guys will be around next week. Yeah, shut up. These guys will be around next week, and then we'll be taking an extended break before CES, where we will be back on the show floor, actually in our CNET booth at CES, with a live show, and then we'll be back after that with audio, with an audio podcast for a little while. So
we'll just keep doing the podcast.
the schedule is going to be a little wonky, a little weird for the next couple of weeks, so you have to bear with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But enjoy this moment where we're all actually here.
It's like the last
Yay.
family dinner before everybody gets divorced.
Woo.
That's pretty dark.
Dark, man. All right.
I may start crying.
All right. So today we'll be talking about, speaking of drama, we'll be talking about the drama between Google and Amazon.
Wow, nice one.
We'll be talking about
What a transition.
Qualcomm and Microsoft's second attempt to create more nimble laptops running on the type of processors that power your phone. So they're a little bit more phone-like. And lastly, we'll be talking about Alfred's Q&A with Maggie Hassan, the senator from New Hampshire, to talk about IoT security. So, as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Brian will pick out the best, and we'll try to get them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
From 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ing.
Claws are out in a fight between Google and Amazon. Google said yesterday it was pulling YouTube from Amazon Fire TV, noting that Amazon, in turn, doesn't carry products like the Chromecast and Google Home. Not coincidentally, these are products that compete with Amazon's own Fire TV and Amazon Echo lineup. Ben, you wrote the story. What's up with this? Are Fire TV customers just screwed out of YouTube now?
At the moment, but to a certain extent, I guess it's at least valuable for the public to know that this is going on. Google,
And this has been going on for a while.
Google and Amazon
fight.
have increasingly been big competitors against each other.
Yep.
Amazon has been getting more into online advertising. Google's been getting more into e-commerce through Google Express. So in some ways, I kind of saw this as an inevitability. The problem is that the customers are going to end up losing out. Like if you shelled out money for an Echo Show, for instance, you're just not going to have YouTube on it for the time being, which kind of sucks.
That's
I
terrible.
generally
That's like a primary
Yeah.
reason to have the Echo
You
Show.
definitely lose a lot more not having YouTube than you would, not having Amazon TV or anything like that.
You mean like Prime Video?
Yeah, like I would rather have YouTube than Prime Video.
Yeah,
of
well,
course,
there's a ton of content there, and I think Amazon did try to figure out a workaround where they just provided the web service, like they just opened the web page for YouTube temporarily while they were in a disagreement with Amazon or with Google about this, and Google basically is now restricting even that, which is pretty intense. And we'll see if they work this out.
It does kind of remind me of like the disputes between networks and cable companies whenever there's issues over rights, and and just like in that case, it's really the customer that ends up losing. Next up, we want to talk about Microsoft and Qualcomm unveiling the first two PCs running Qualcomm Snapdragon processors. Now, the big deal about this is it turns these laptops essentially into phones. They last for 30 days on standby. One of the laptops, I believe the Asus one or the HP one, runs video playback for 22 hours straight. That's like a huge amount of battery life. There are some downsides. It does run on Windows 10S. That's sort of the lockdown version, but it does run all the core Windows apps. That is a big contrast from Windows RT. This is the software they unveiled 5 years ago that was supposed to run on these Qualcomm processors, supposed to be lighter and more efficient, and it was a total failure.
Yeah, there are some cool things about this: the always-on connectivity, the availability to instantly wake. I don't know if it's really going to be the shot in the arm that the PC industry needs, but I mean, they're trying.
It's interesting. I question whether or not people want a laptop that's constantly connected to a cellular network, because that means you have to pay for that connectivity, right? Does anyone want to pay like an extra, $10 a month for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, they've been talking up this whole, PC, that are more like your phones thing for a really long time now, and it really hasn't worked out for them in the past.
All right, lastly, Alfred, you interviewed Senator Maggie Hassan about security, IoT security. What'd she have to say?
Yeah, she essentially she co-sponsored the IoT security bill, essentially saying that the federal government should have a standard of security on any internet connected devices that they purchase.
Right.
I think the biggest takeaway from her points, though, is that there needs to be a balance between government regulation and innovation in Silicon Valley. But the other idea is they're kind of been moving like way too fast on their expansion, and it's time to slow down a bit and take
technology has moved too fast. Yeah.
And take a good look at yourself and what are we doing here, and could this have any adverse effects before you go and push through with these kinds of like new tech.
And the idea of having basically forcing like any government purchase product to have these minimum standards is that because they'll be adding those standards to these products, they'll basically add these standards to all products, and everyone would benefit. Right?
Yeah.
So, all right. For more of these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
And that's a cut on the recording of the audio podcast. Stick around, everybody. I'm going to jump into the chat and start fishing out some good questions and commentary, whatever you got for us. In the meantime, talk amongst yourselves.
If that was the last show we did together for the year, which it was, I was pretty happy with it. We pulled together some good.
We crammed in a lot of information. I really wanted to talk a bit more about your interview.
Yes.
I kind of ran out of time.
Well, let's go. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are the odds that this thing actually passes, though?
It's having a hard time getting on the floor currently, but I don't think it's because it doesn't have the support, because it's a bipartisan bill. There's like both Democrats and Republicans on it.
Which is really unusual in this time, in this age, where like everything has to be partisan.
Yeah,
issue.
I think the reason why it hasn't like had an audience on the floor yet is because I think IoT security is a very important like issue, but I also think like as far as Congress goes, there's
other stuff.
A lot more fish to fry out there first.
One
is
other
unfortunate, but
one other area that I wanted to touch on related to this is, do you have any sense of how the tech industry is responding to this? Because this would be increased regulation.
Yeah.
I think that it's clever from the government's perspective to direct this at government issued technology. So that kind of restricts the focus a little bit more, but also could potentially expand security capabilities.
Yeah, so she was talking about that, where essentially, they don't want to put regulations on Silicon Valley just yet. They don't want to say, if you want to sell this to the public, you have to meet these kinds of standards. They're kind of putting it on themselves first. So basically, if we're going to be buying IoT products, they have to meet this level of security. So it's not saying, they're not going to companies saying you need to be better at this. It's kind of for themselves saying we need to be better with the kinds of products that we buy. The hope is that because they buy so much, that makers out there will say, okay, well, we need to raise our security standards, because if we don't, like, we lose the U.S. government as a customer, and they're like one of our like biggest customers out there.
Right.
I would probably say that, especially with IoT, it's always a weakest link type of situation. That's generally what ends up happening. So some of the knockoffs or like lower tier players are the ones that generally get consumers in trouble. We're not talking about like Nest or Amazon.
And these are the ones the government's not going to purchase.
Yeah, that's where I was going for. So unfortunately, I think that in the area of IoT, where consumers would end up getting privacy or security issues, this bill, because it's directed at government issued stuff, probably isn't going to significantly impact.
I mean, I would disagree with that. I think that a lot of what the government buys in IoT stuff isn't like products like like Nest or Amazon products. It's not like they're buying like a smart doorbell for like the Senate floor or something like that.
I would love to see that.
The federal government, like the majority of the IoT stuff that they're buying is more so like sensors that they put in like street lights or on, like underwater to like test water levels and things like that. So those are like, I would say are around the level that you're talking about, where
it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. It's single purpose. Like security is not really built in like by design in that aspect. So it's hard to find like name brand like sensors. Google's not going out with like, oh, we've got these like water system like level testers kind of thing.
I do like that this is kind of, they're trying to change the culture and the thinking of the industry in terms of their attitude to security, because in general I think IoT manufacturers have been fairly lax. So why don't we move on to some of the questions? We've got a couple.
Sure, let's start off with our old friend Matthew Datcher, the Datch in the chat.
Datch, yeah.
I'd like to see Amazon try to build a service like YouTube.
There's like kind of sort of a version that already exists.
Is there?
Yeah, they tried to get like pro-am video creators onto a
Is it
service
like
that
for
they made.
Twitch or?
No,
Facebook's
it's not
doing it now.
It's not
Oh, yeah,
for
they
Twitch.
have Twitch.
They
Yeah.
introduced it. I think it may have been last year, and I don't know that it really went anywhere. But it was they did attempt to try to get more pro-am video creators to start going to Prime
And
Video.
pro-am is professional amateur.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What's
it's
the hell?
it's
Just
not
double
like
checking.
it was because like the way that they directed it, it's like YouTube was more like come one come all, and this
Right.
one was a few more hurdles. Like you had to be at a
Yeah.
certain
And
level.
I know Facebook's trying this, but like at this point, there are no other sources even close to YouTube when it comes to content you want to watch, right?
Right, but it's
So-
probably good that people are
Facebook
actually.
is getting pretty close to it, though, I'd say. Like,
Yeah.
not professional Facebook, not Facebook Watch, but like when you scroll on your Facebook feed, like
Yeah.
what's the majority of stuff that you see?
video, but it's video from
but-
somewhere else.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not
Baby
necessarily like
pictures.
I mean, it's not necessarily stuff I want to watch.
Yeah.
People don't actively go to Facebook to think video, like right.
Yeah.
YouTube is the video source. My point being, like, it's a big blow, right? Not having that is
Yeah.
a huge deal.
But you
for
see
Fire
more
TV
and more of it
customers.
become something of a coagulate where there are actual competitive services out there,
Right.
which should ultimately be a good warning shot across the bow of YouTube right now in the
Yeah.
midst of adpocalypse.
Sort of.
I mean, back to Datch's original question. Like, I don't think Amazon can come up with anything even close to replacing
I
YouTube.
I
unfortunately
mean, the closest
agree.
thing that they have is probably Twitch,
Yeah,
but even
that's
the-
also-
Which is specifically
Yeah.
targeted. Vimeo and Dailymotion are two direct competitors that have existed for years,
Right.
and they're specifically targeted at video. And I would argue that they're nowhere close
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
size or scale of YouTube. So even if Amazon wanted to get really serious about video, I think it's a very high bar to
Yeah.
reach.
Full disclosure, Datch said he was being sarcastic, but I don't know. We'll have to
It was
just
a
kind
good-
of.
It was
that's
actually-
a great question.
It was a good question considering his sarcasm.
Yeah. Onwards.
Now that you've brought up the term pro-am, though, I kind of want to rename the show.
that is kind of what we are.
Like,
What?
to the-
Professional amateur.
Oh,
We're
we
really
most
good at
certainly
being
are.
amateurish.
It's
Yes.
very definitive of how we operate. Tammy Thompson, Google Money Grab. They are rumored to be working on a video home assistant, so this will be forcing others off to force you to buy theirs.
You know what, Tammy? I didn't know that. Is
Whoa.
that a rumor that's been out there? Did we just break news on the podcast?
We don't. We never do.
No, why would we? But either way, if they are planning for an Echo Show competitor, number one, that would be really interesting. Number
Yeah.
two, they have the capabilities. So I wouldn't say
I
that
bet
that's
you'd be like
completely out of
I mean, look,
$500.
I think it's easy to blame Google, but you feel like it's also Amazon, is basically the largest online retailer out there, and it's shutting out Google's
and it
products.
has.
Right.
It's
and
for more than
for
2 years.
clearly like anti-competitive reasons. So, there neither party here is completely guilty or completely innocent.
Okay, just to get Amazon's perspective out there.
Bring it.
It's not clearly anti-competitive reasons. Their take on it is that they threw out Apple TV and Google Chromecast 2 years ago because they weren't as good. It wasn't as good of an experience for Prime Video because you couldn't actually
Right.
get.
That sounds
so
pretty anti-competitive
Yeah,
to
I'm just
me.
I'm just from a reporting perspective.
yeah.
I just want to get Amazon's
Why is
take out
Roku
there.
still there?
So
it's
I
not
guess
as
I guess
good of an
because they have
experience
tighter
after-
partnerships. What's interesting is with Apple TV now getting Prime Video, does that then mean that Apple TV will
Comes
get
back.
reintroduced
Yeah.
on Amazon.com? I would probably. I mean, like it's totally hard to predict that though. I have no idea if they would actually do it because in some ways they've already paid the price of kicking out Apple TV.
Good points. Jesse Gaidman, what does Google actually want from Amazon before they put the app back?
I think they just want to be on the store.
Yeah, they want their
that was-
products they want their products distributed in like the world's largest,
So
second largest online retailer, or
It's the
world's
world's
so,
largest
yeah.
online retailer
Okay,
by far.
I'm not sure like where.
It's okay.
Alibaba
That's
kinda
why.
fits
That's
in
why
there.
you have me here. It's okay.
But what about Alibaba?
so is it
Alibaba,
all?
it's different.
All right.
Alibaba.
No, let's not get into that.
Is it
You're
all
right.
Google products, or are they just saying like mostly their like TV stuff, like Chromecast and Home and all
I
that?
think it's just
and Nest. Like
because
apparently,
Chromebooks are sold on Amazon, right?
I would have to look it up, but apparently a bunch of new Nest products were also bounced from Amazon
Oh.
quietly last month, and like nobody even noticed. So that's the thing, and like those were apparently best sellers. So There's a lot of shenanigans, I would say, going on. None of this is surprising to me because Amazon's been known to do that kind of stuff. When they were having a fist fight with Hachette, the book publisher, they also significantly degraded the ability to search for Hachette books on its website.
I mean, that is, I mean, speaking to like consolidation of power, that's what happens when you've got a retailer like that everybody goes to. They have a huge impact if you get on their bad side.
I love billion-dollar companies making things harder for average people because they have disputes with each other.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I don't know
It's a
that
pissing
it makes,
match.
I don't know that it makes either one look good. It's pretty hard.
No.
It's pretty hard to like
I mean,
defend Google and
it's
say
the same deal when like a cable network versus a cable provider, when they have a dispute, no one really ends up winning there, right?
not only that, but like they both end up like their talking points are very customer oriented. We're doing this for the customer.
Right.
The customer is right. All this other stuff. The customer's sitting there being like, I just spent $230 on an Echo Show
It's
and
like,
I can't even watch
yeah,
YouTube.
I don't care about your talking points. I just want to watch what I want to watch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like-
And on that note, do or do not, there is no try. Awesome screen name.
Yeah, I love Star Trek.
Whoa.
God damn it.
Well, way to derail the entire podcast. Look, just shut Brian down there. He's just
broke
done.
BVG. He's broken.
Do or do not, there is no try says both Google and Amazon need to be reminded who the customer is.
Yeah,
Totally.
totally good point.
According to them, it's themselves because apparently, it's all right for the customer, whatever they do.
I don't know. There are plenty of other places that you could buy those Google products. I'm not saying that they don't have a point here as far as like trying to get onto Amazon.com, but it's pretty lousy for customers. I mean, I think we all agree.
And
with that.
the timing of this is interesting. I mean, they just rolled out, or Google just rolled out their expanded line of Google Home Mini, and that was clearly a hot product sold at Best Buy, sold at other retailers, but they were missing a big chunk of business with people going to Amazon and just seeing an Echo Dot arrive at the same price.
I did ask my Echo Dot to purchase a Google Home Mini,
Ooh.
and it offered me an Echo Dot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you go on Amazon.com, you put in Google Home Mini, your search will
Echo Dot.
come out with Echo products. So there's
I wonder if
all sorts of
Google
games
does
going
that,
on.
where like if I try Googling Echo Dot, like the first
don't.
result is like a Google Home Mini.
They don't, and
I think they get into a lot more trouble with that because they're manipulating.
Yeah, but isn't it
Search
Amazon's like
results.
technically doing the same thing?
Yeah,
Yes,
but it's like
I would
within the
agree with
Amazon
you.
store, so I guess I don't know. It's like I feel like legally it's a little bit less.
The problem is
Murky.
that Amazon has been widely seen as being search for shopping, and that's
Right.
usually the first place that a lot of people go online to search for any given item because they
Right.
have so many of them. So I do think that there's a point to be made as far as them gaming Amazon.com and just not including competitor
I mean, I
products.
just feel like it would be more obvious, and I think regulators would jump on Google a lot faster if they started manipulating.
I wouldn't disagree with you,
results.
but I think that Amazon should be held to a similar standard.
Good point.
All right, let's take a few more questions before the end of the show. Josh Boyda, do you think Google is gearing up to release an Echo Show or tablet of their own?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
That does kind of make sense.
Yeah, right.
I hadn't
That's-
Well,
considered
definitely
it
on the
before.
tablet. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they've done tablets.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he means sort of like a kitchen top desktop type device that sits there.
We have very smart viewers because I hadn't considered that, but it does make a
Makes
lot
a
of
lot of
sense.
sense.
I hope they don't, just because I still think the Echo Show is like very dumb.
I don't know if it's dumb. I think
It could be improved upon.
it definitely could be. I mean, it doesn't look great, but I put my iPad on the kitchen, like on a stand in the kitchen, and we use it kind of like what the Echo Show is used for. You use video chat, recipes.
Yeah, but imagine if your iPad on the stand in the kitchen could only be that. Like you couldn't move it anywhere ever. Like it'd stay there. It'd be useless.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're in the kitchen a lot, maybe if like that's where your family congregates.
I mean, honestly, I'm in my kitchen a lot, and I don't like. I mean, I have my tablet that I put on a
yeah,
stand,
but you
but
spend
I
like
don't,
5 minutes at home.
yeah, this is also true.
I spend a lot more time at home than you do.
The Echo Show is still pretty new, so I think we're still trying to figure out who the customer is for the Echo Show.
Yeah.
I think
I'm curious,
families.
do you have any indication of how well it's done?
I don't think it's doing super well, but I don't have a ton of statistics on that. We just know very, very clearly.
I
I think
Also,
that
don't
the
you like
Echo
don't you like
died.
not have statistics though, because Amazon doesn't really like send out numbers unless it's doing amazing.
Yes, that's correct. However,
But I
there's
think
a
even
lot
like
of
research firms don't have.
there's a
numbers
lot of
there.
third-party information that shows that the Echo Dot is by far like the biggest one. Like that's really, really strong. While
Also,
the
I mean, my biggest thing is like aesthetically, it still just looks kind of ugly to me.
the show.
I just
Show.
hate the concept of it. I don't need like a standing tablet.
Well, unfortunately, now you can't even watch YouTube on it. So
Yeah,
that-
it kind of it's just like a big heavy brick that's like sitting and taking up
Yeah,
space
and
on
like
your
I feel like
counter.
YouTube is like kind of perfect for that. Like the scenario that you're talking about when it's just in your kitchen, you can like look up like recipes
Yeah.
on that. Like,
Yep.
what am I gonna watch? Like Top Gear, like
Yeah.
in my kitchen? It just doesn't make any
I
sense.
wouldn't watch Top Gear in general. It sucks now.
No, what's their new show that they have?
Grand Tour.
Yes, Grand Tour. That's what,
Which is pretty awesome.
yeah.
Bring back Good Girls Revolt.
What?
You heard
It
me,
was a
Jeff.
good show.
There you go.
JB.
JB.
All right, we're almost out of time. Malamace, is Google cutting accessories to Amazon the micro version of net neutrality?
Oh, interesting. I
Micro
don't know.
version of net
So
neutrality.
the idea of like treating, I guess, all products fairly. I mean, it goes back to that original question you're talking about in terms of like prioritizing your products over someone. I think it kind of is. It's actually kind of a smart analogy because it's the idea like as a store you should technically be neutral, which no store really is, right?
Yeah,
at this
but
point.
I don't know. I think the idea of the internet was like this is supposed to be something for everybody. Amazon is kind of
Yes.
like we're a business and we can
But
sell
I
what we
think-
damn well
I think
please.
to Ben's point, like the idea of like holding it to a higher standard, that's kind of like that would be the net neutrality argument, right? Like holding
yeah.
because it's
I just-
considered the
I-
search of shopping.
I think the problem is that Google gets held to that standard a lot because they're so dominant in search, and
Yeah.
search is like the entry point to so much of the internet.
Yes.
But for shopping, Amazon is clearly very, very dominant in that space.
Right.
So there are arguments to be made. Obviously, Google is making them that like, why aren't you including our products? Like
Right.
this isn't cool. So this is also worth mentioning that like this could potentially just be a negotiating point.
Oh, yeah,
Google
definitely.
and Amazon are probably having negotiations. Google decided in the heat of the holiday season, we're going to embarrass Amazon and make this look bad. Maybe they're going to have a kumbaya moment at some point. It seems like it's entirely possible. I mean, like Amazon needs that Echo Show to have YouTube on it, and it would
Yeah.
be nice to have it on the Fire TV too. So,
Yeah, I was
my
gonna-
expectation would be that they are going to come to some sort of agreement.
I was gonna say it's really dampened my prospects of getting an Amazon like a Fire TV, like a stick or anything like that.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah.
most of the stuff I watch is on YouTube,
Yeah.
like the 359 live stream.
I know, which is really good, and the viewers again are very
Are the best.
smart.
The viewers are probably the best
They're
part
probably
of
the
the
best.
show.
No, they're the best viewers.
I would say
like,
so.
ever.
I mean, like
Yeah.
definitely Josh Boyda,
Oh yeah,
Danny Green,
Michael
Danny
Brown.
Michael
Come on.
Brown.
we have
so
some
many.
great viewers.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's a
timing.
good way to end
Yeah,
it.
viewers that you
good-
can't find on Amazon Fire TV.
There you go.
All right, just to bring us out, since we are done for the week
Yeah,
and Roger's done for the year.
Wait.
but we're not done for the week. We
We're
have
not done
tomorrow.
for the week.
We still have another
still have
episode
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Raj-
Isn't
I'm
today
just-
Thursday?
No, today's Wednesday.
Oh no!
Crap.
You lost a day, man. No, we're back tomorrow. Actually, is today the last day we'll all be together? I guess.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, that is
Because
correct.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
Ben will
working
be-
from home
Right.
tomorrow.
So sorry, we are here tomorrow.
Okay, just because
No
it's,
need to get emotional.
it's going to be a continuing looming topic. Do we have any more developments about the net neutrality case? I know that they are petitioning for a delay on the vote.
Yep.
Do we have any new information?
Good question.
Nothing beyond that right now. I think there's still, there's obviously a lot of movement on the kind of pro net neutrality camp to kind of delay and to sway the Republican commissioners. Ultimately, I mean, I think it's still just going to go through. There are 3 Republican commissioners. Republicans almost always vote anti net neutrality or anti these regulations, and so, but no concrete updates so far.
Yeah.
Got it.
A delay doesn't, to a certain extent, is just a short-term Band-Aid for.
That was just the
neutrality.
last thing I had heard as of
and
last night.
If theoretically, we get a Democrat president in a couple years, then maybe it'll all swing back the other way. So that's government for you.
It's going to swing.
Yep.
Swinger's going to swing.
All right.
I think we're
That's
just
a good-
about out of
good
time.
place to
Really?
stop.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
Yeah.
Let's keep doing this for another 20 minutes. Come on, guys.
Let's not. I got to run to a meeting, man. All right. If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Feedburner, Google Play Music, and the Amazon Echo. But not.
But not YouTube.
I mean, the
But not-
podcast
but not
it is
YouTube.
available on YouTube.
Well, I mean, the podcast is available.
And CNET.com, by the way.
Thanks. Man.
Also, news.com.
Yes.
News.com, which we also own.
Is that it? You done?
I'm done.
Okay.
I was done a while ago. These guys are just chiming in. All right. See you all tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.